Welcome to the channel, everybody. So today we are going to continue on our Thronebreaker series with Act 6.3.5. I'm going to take a look at what I'm considering one of the easier paths to deal with, especially if you have the correct champions. We're going to look at the nodes on this path and who's on the path itself for champions to face, and then finally we'll take a look at the Mysterio boss. So let's get right into it. Right off the bat here, this is a little bit of an odd team you may see, but this is all built around giving Hyperion as much power as possible, as well as much crit damage as possible, and special damage as possible. So plus on top of that with the Thor in with Heimdall, that actually also gives me the same ability as the Thor-Loki synergy that you may have heard me talk about before, whereas you can do the dash back and regen 20% of your missing health. And also, if you were to be killed, instead you will receive an indestructible and unstoppable buff for 3 seconds at the end of the fight, giving you a chance to either dash back and regain health, or dash in there and hopefully finish off your opponent before they finish you off. Okay, so right off the bat here, let's take a look at the path node. Now, this path is the incinerate path. Right off the bat, we have the pleasure to burn. Unless the defender is suffering from a incinerate debuff, they take 90% less damage from any attack you do against them. So you need to keep an incinerate buff on them at all times. Got a light? Both you and the defender have a 20% chance of every time you land a hit of any sort of inflicting a incinerate debuff. This deals 65% of your attack over 10 seconds. This does give you an opportunity to get that incinerate debuff on there and continue to attack them. But honestly, what you want to do is look at a more consistent incinerate champion, such as Hyperion, like I went with here, a Sunspot, or Human Torch. Any of these are great options to just walk through this path, honestly. Now, the next node here is Redoubled Determination. Now, what this actually does is it actually does increase the defender's attack by 65% and their combat rating by 20% for every debuff placed upon them. So stacking too many can actually power them up to quite a bit. And if any of those debuffs that you put on them are armor break, bleed, or poison, it actually counts for a double effect. So keep that in mind. You want to avoid those bleed, poison, and armor break champions as well, because you're going to power them up tremendously. And if they should happen to catch you, you're going to go down fast. Last, there is Power Shield on here. All your basic attacks deal no damage, but they do build up your power gain faster, which is another reason why I thought Hyperion would be great, because then I had even more power gain right off the bat, needing to get to those specials, because your specials actually do 400% more damage. So you constantly need to be building up to your specials. So a champion that has incinerate and power gain like Hyperion just seemed like the best option to me for this path. So if you happen to have a decent Hyperion that you have awakened and at a good sig level, a 5-star can do this path for you. I do revive several times along this path, but that is because I stuck strictly to Hyperion being the champion. More often than not, it's reviving just to finish a fight, and then I get through most of the next fight and revive again. And so if I had brought in a team of strictly incinerate champions, probably could have done this on 0 to no revives. The only difference will be the boss fight, but we'll talk about that here in just 1 second. As you can see here, from Squirrel Girl, you're going to go over to Dormammu, and then he still has the same things: Agent Venom, Mordo, Kingpin, Sentinel, Korg, and finally Thing, who actually is your link node for the path. Thing is always a pain of a fight, But finally, we get over here to the boss now with Mysterio. Now, this one is where things are going to get more interesting. He does have tunnel vision, meaning that if you perform the same action twice in a row, you will gain a falter debuff. That falter debuff will cause you to miss your next attack. And once you do miss that attack, the falter debuff falls off. Now, this does not apply to your specials, so do keep in mind, alternating up your attacks, medium, light, medium, medium, heavy, medium, whatever it is, so that you're getting different motions in there, dashing back, things like that. Making sure that you're not doing the same thing over and over can be important. Now, the next thing he has on him is Matador. Now, this means that you only gain a bar of power whenever he uses a special. Now, this is important to remember, especially if you would trigger off his special 2, which you're going to see I do several times, because his special 2 causes power drain. So that means that you only get up to a bar of power, then you immediately lose it, so you can't use your specials. Also, on top of that, he has enhanced visibility, meaning his helmet is fully active, so you're gonna have to watch him because he is at his peak. Also, on top of that, he has toxic behavior, so for every 3 gas charges he gets on him, he immediately turns those into a poison debuff on you. So if you could bring in a poison debuff, poison immune champion, possibly, but I'm going to tell you this much from my personal experience: the best champion to actually take him down is the Metal Killer and Magneto. And you'll see I do actually swap in for Magneto at the end. It doesn't go 100% smooth, but you'll see that is how I do get him down. Okay, guys, let's get into it. So right off the bat here was the Squirrel Girl fight. Like I said, the main idea of this fight was just to build to the SP1s, let them off, that way I could get multiple incinerate charges on her. Obviously, we were getting enough power gain that we were building up quickly, so we bypassed the SP1 a few times on here. But like I said in the beginning, I went through a few revives. Normally, it was just coming right back in and finish them off. Same thing with coming over here to Dormammu. Still same plan, build up to the SP1, but occasionally, that is the problem if you're trying. But now, once we get the stun off on him from the SP2, it is a lot easier to go ahead and stack a couple of those incinerates on the SP1 because we instantly build back up. Like I said, we did revive up a couple times here. Okay, so we went back in, finished up Dormammu here, and then on to the Agent Venom fight. Again, straightforward. Just get those incinerate charges on them, and once you do that, the fight becomes a lot easier. You do have to watch it with Agent Venom here because, of course, he does have that Katar removal, so that will actually cause him to be able to remove those incinerate buffs immediately. So you want to be able to apply them back to back so that you can keep a few of them on there. Coming over here to Mordo, obviously you've heard me say it before if you've been on the channel for a while. I'd much rather be using Quake against Mordo than anybody else, but of course Quake isn't going to put Incinerate consistently on him. So we came over here and again, same thing, got him most of the way down, had to come back in. Kingpin is one of my favorite fights, to be truthful with you. Not saying that I do it perfectly every time, but if you can get, like you just saw there, if you can get him up to the SP1, get him bait out that SP1, and then immediately jump in at the end of his baseball swing, you can walk through Kingpin often. The problem is if you screw up and get him up to that SP2, those are a little harder to dodge, and you end up normally ruining your rhythm on that. So, but again, like I said, pretty much the same thing over again. Got in here. He was almost down already. Now, onto the Sentinel fight. Now, of course, we have class advantage on this fight, which does help. Sentinel, of course, it can cause Incinerate as well, so he would be somebody else to consider for this path if you were going to go with an Incinerate team entirely. Obviously, he has the Incinerate off the SP1 there, just like Hyperion does. but we were able to go through him fairly easily. Didn't have to revive on that one. We did heal up for this fight against Korg because I knew it was going to be a long one because I'm not good against Korg. And as well, Thing is going to be another one that's going to take a little bit more. They're just two champions that I'm not necessarily great against. If I can get a good juggle, like I am here on them, I can normally do fairly well. But of course, now I build him up to the SP3, so I'm going to take some serious damage here, and I'm going to have to come back in and finish him off. Luckily enough, we did have the. Actually, I take that back. I was able to get the revive and finish him off. Off of the Heimdall synergy there. So, but I do know it was a Thing fight here that I did pretty much the same thing. I got him about halfway down, and I had to come back in to finish him off because it just didn't go as pretty as I wanted it to. Now, of course, we did get the incinerate charges on him, which did help some, but of course, we didn't get too many hits in after that. So we did come back in and just go ahead and finish this up. And pretty straightforward again. Build up the SP3 off the power gain. Already had a couple incinerate charges on him. Built up back up to the SP1, overshot it, and got the SP2. Had to go right back in to finish him the final time. Okay, now we got up here to the swap node, like I said, and we swapped out for Magneto, but of course, then I decided, well, let's see if I can't do it with Hyperion. I don't know what I was really thinking. I do get some damage in here, but it's nowhere near as much as I can do with Magneto. Not that I did perfectly with Magneto. We do have to revive a few different times to get through Mysterio here, but I do end up finishing him off and taking down this level as well. So this first fight, like I said, I had a little bit to go with on the power gain here. Was able to go ahead and get through that and get just the minute amount of damage off there. Now, here's the problem I ran into with Magneto often is I'm in the middle of trying to get my prowess charges built up so that when I do get a power bar, I can turn around and actually use use him at his maximum efficiency. But of course, I turn around and push him either to the special 2 or the special 3. And, obviously off the special 3, we're going to take a ton of damage. Off the special 2, we end up with losing the bar of power that we were trying to build up to in the first place. So, like I said, ideally, guys, what you want to do is try and bait Mysterio special 1s. They do hit fairly hard, but you, at the same time there, comparatively to what the other two are going to do to you and what they're going to leave you with, as you can see here, I'm not able to do my SP1, which is keeping me from doing the maximum damage that I need to be doing to be able to get through this. And that cost me the fight, so we got to come back in and do this again. Okay, so we came back in and immediately went back to building up prowess charges. Again, guys, didn't necessarily learn my own lesson here. To be truthful with you, more so this was one of those things that I was paying attention to it closer on the playback because in the moment, getting frustrated, trying to do what I'm, the same thing over and over again, having the right idea, knowing that it's how it's going to work, and then not paying attention to why I'm screwing it up is a common mistake that I have done in the past. And here again, we let it happen a couple times on this fight, and it cost us several more revives than we would have needed. Now, I did use a team revive here, so I figured I might as well go ahead and see if I couldn't get something off with Hyperion. And we were able to do pretty much nothing. So went right back to Magneto, which I knew he was going to be my way of getting Mysterio down. We did fully heal up on this one, which I didn't on the fight before, so that one went by a little bit faster, and that cost us, basically wasting the revive by not healing because I was thinking I had him down enough. But here we go. We get him just to done, and we get caught on that SP2, and we come right back in and we're able to finish him off. Now, like I said, guys, it wasn't the prettiest show at all, but at the same time, again, we were able to push through. You can see some of my mistakes. You can see how easily it could have been done better. Main advice that I'm going to give you is honestly make sure that you do have a good incinerate champion for the path, and make sure you have Magneto on standby for that boss fight against Mysterio. Outside of that, guys, we will be back for the next one tomorrow, and I will see you then. Peace out.